Welcome, I'm Just Show. Today we're talking about my favorite books of this month, January 2022. If you want to know now, my top 3 favorite books are The 1% Rule, Understanding Yourself and Others, and The Science of Rapid Skill Acquisition. These books are in no order in terms of what I prefer over the other. The things I will state about each book are the gist of what the book is about in a sentence or two. Then I will name a few notable chapters, if there are any. Lastly, I will name my favorite quote from each book. The first book I would like to start with is The 1% Rule by Tommy Baker. This is a self-help book or self-improvement book. The gist of this book is the effects of compound gains on a skill. Very small efforts made over time accumulate to a large amount of skill. Some of the chapters in this book are The Myths of the 1% Rule, Doing It Daily, Faith is a Muscle, Rules, Persistence Defined. My favorite quote from this book is, millions of people wait for the calendar year to switch one digit, and then they'll get started. I found this quote interesting because I don't wait for New Year's or some inconvenient or even convenient time to start. The second book, Understanding Yourself and Others by Linda Behrens and Dario Nadi. This is a typology book. Typology is a concept that describes personal characteristics of people, mainly in a cognitive way. Typology also describes behavioral characteristics. There should be future videos on typology for me explaining how that works. Understanding Yourself and Others is based on the typology models based on Carl Jung's work on personality theory of psychological types. These psychological types are then further processed by Isabel and Catherine Meyer-Briggs into 16 type codes. This book describes those type codes at an introductory level. Some of the chapters in this book are Understanding Your Best Fit, Cognitive Dynamics, Your Preferred World, the 16 personality type descriptions, communication zones, and where do you go from here. My favorite quote from this book is from a section called Preferred Processes. In this section, it is explicitly stated that on any given task, one's cognitive functions does not necessarily have to be the preferred way they go about handling the task. The third book, Science of Rapid Skill Acquisition by Peter Hollins. This is another self-help book and it is amazing. Seriously, this book might make the top 5 books of the year. This book is nicely titled, and believe it or not, I was offended when I picked it up and read the title. I was like, huh? Science of Rapid Skill Acquisition, excuse me? What was this person thinking? For something to be scientific, it has to be systematically studied and structured to produce reproducible results. And you know what? That is what he did. Some of the contents of this book are what to learn, where he states to list out all the things you'd want to learn, and then you should prioritize them and go from there. Other chapters are what is learning, how to strategically plan, deconstruction, practice, learning styles and their effects on learning rates, and skill stacking. I believe the aspect of the book that made it so amazing was the fact that this guy left no stones unturned, and it was very short and right to the point. I'm actually going to give 2 favorite quotes from this one. The first is, if you don't know a certain fact even 20 years ago, you would have to trek to a library and flip through an encyclopedia for hours to find your answer. The second is, you know nothing. This is the mindset of putting yourself in the shoes of a perpetual student. What I like about this quote is that it's true. The humbleness and humility, especially if natural, will intrinsically make one more curious. And in the previous video, I mentioned how much more knowledgeable one can be when open-minded. This dude even has a summary for all chapters at the end of the book. Also, as a side note, because I haven't mentioned it earlier, but 80-20 Principle was mentioned. The 80-20 Principle is one of the best books I've ever read, and I've read twice, and it was in my top 3 books of 2021, so that says a lot. The premise of the book is that 80% of something comes from 20% of the work, or most work produced comes from a small amount of input from the total input. Okay, so in summary, my top 3 books of the month are The 1% Rule, Understanding Yourself and Others, and The Science of Rapid Skill Acquisition. Oh, you may be wondering, why do I have 3 favorite books? Because if you do the math, 3 books per month are 36 books per year, but I read fairly often. Also, at the end of the year, I might make a video of all the books I've read this year. That's it for this video. I hope you found this interesting. If you have an idea on how I can make these videos more efficient for you, or what kind of content you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments on that. As always, have a good one.